Chivas Regal blended Scotch whiskey takes on some rare, somewhat pricey Japanese Mizunara oak. Does it succeed? Let's find out and uncork this bottle. Hey everyone, and welcome to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. I'm Eric, your humble malt muser. On the bar for today, we have a blended Scotch whiskey from a famous Scotch whiskey blender, Chivas Regal. This is their special edition Mizunara. As always, nose taste finish review of this whiskey is coming your way. I'll tell you a bit about the value, share my final thoughts, and give this freshly uncorked bottle a final score. Before we dive into all of this, do take a second, smash that subscribe button. We'll make sure you don't miss any of these reviews I drop here on YouTube, as well as keep you in the know for live streams. Okay, let's get this in the glass and then talk a little bit about it. So, screw top. Okay. So, Chivas Regal, arguably one of the most famous blended Scotch whiskeys out there. Probably right behind maybe Johnny Walker. This whiskey in particular, as I mentioned, takes on a rare and rather pricey Japanese oak called Mizunara. The story behind Mizunara goes way back previous, I think, around World War II. Obviously couldn't buy bourbon casks for their whiskey from the United States. They started using Mizunara oak. Mizunara, it takes a long time to, I think upwards of 200 years until it's actually wood that's usable. Offers up kind of a sandalwood and type spice to whiskey. Very popular these days in Japanese whiskey. So let's get into the tail of the tape here, however, on this Scotch whiskey. So tail of the tape is, this is bottled at 40% ABV. Looking at the small print here in the back of the bottle, we have no age statement on this. So this is a non-age statement whiskey. As for color, if it's natural or not, I'm going to say this is definitely not naturally colored and most certainly chill filtered. Nothing mentioned one way or the other on here. So we will assume that they have added color to this and it has been chill filtered. So we're really looking at a bare minimum presentation here. So let's talk a little bit more about this whiskey in specific as it regards to the maturation. So there are a couple things about this you should know. First of all, this is a blended Scotch, not a blended malt. What that means is that in addition to malted barley, there are other grains being used in the blending of this whiskey. So this is not a straight up full malt whiskey. Okay. On the back, it says, hand-selected malt and grain whiskeys in honor of the Japanese art and tradition of whiskey making. Mizunara, a rare and unique oak from Japan, has been used to marry some of this exclusive blend. Some of this. So, is it a finish? No, not exactly. At least what this actually is, it sounds like, is that some of the whiskey was aged in Mizunara oak. Others weren't, and they married it all together for this blended Scotch. So that's the somewhat convoluted tail of the tape here on the Chivas Regal Mizunara. We've got it in the glass. I will show you what this color looks like, which is almost certainly a colorant of E150A added to it. We don't know how old this whiskey is, but let's check out the nose. Here we go. So the first thing I'm noticing here is, well, a rather youthful smell. It's edgy. It's got some slight vegetal notes. As for the Mizunara oak, I am getting a faint hint of it. It does come off as kind of a sandalwood, incense, jasmine type note. Maybe even like cardamom, slight. So we're getting some spice. We're getting some youth. And also there's just a kind of very languid fruitiness. Getting some apple, some pear, maybe even a little hint of cinnamon in here too. Oops. All in all, a pretty thin, but relatively unoffensive nose. Okay, let's give it a taste. Cilantro. Okay. The palate's rather pleasant. This actually surprising me a little bit. I was expecting a bit less. So let's do one more quick neat sip here, and then let's talk about it. Soft, runny, light, sweetness on the arrival. And then you get this kind of drying, slightly cinnamon, slightly allspice, sandalwood, Mizunara. So it's much more present on the flavor here. So you're getting kind of a dry development, a little bit of sweetness from the fruit here and there, popping through, again, apples, pear, maybe a little bit of orange peel or orange rather. Sweet. The spice is not hot. It's not even really that intense. It's more kind of drying. Finish is about medium to medium short. Not a lot going on. Hints of chocolate, a little bit of a roasted coffee note. The apple is there. Again, just this kind of slightly sour, slightly dry Mizunara oak quality to it. So the nose wasn't all that interesting. Pretty nice development and palate on this. Finishes back to kind of being, Let's put some water on it. Again, this is probably only 40% ABV, no age statement. We're going to just put like 3 or 4 drops here just to see what else we can get out of this Chivas Regal. Okay. Water on the nose. Here we go. Getting more of a nuttiness now. Almond. Like roasted almond. Again, not much to talk about here on the nose. It's just pretty sweet, a little bit more caramel, less fruit, more kind of barrel notes here. Let's give it a taste. Again, you get a pretty nice bold flavor on this. Definitely Mizunara driven. Again, you get a little bit of that orange, sweet apple, pear, nutmeg, cinnamon thing. And then you get that kind of sandalwood, more chocolatey now Mizunara oak, a little bit of lemon lime. So the finish is a little bit extended. I'd say it's probably a solid medium finish now. This is actually a little bit better with water, but again, just a little bit of that sour note on the end. That alcohol note I noticed on the nose is all but gone. Pretty thin, but relatively strong development on the palate on this. So kind of an interesting whiskey here. Let's talk about the value. This is not a exclusive whiskey by any stretch, and pretty much any liquor store you go into in the United States will definitely have Chivas Regal. and it'll be almost certain that they will have this. You may have to hunt 1 or 2 spots, but you should be able to find this. A bottle of this right now is going right on that $40 to $50 mark, give or take. As I mentioned, not exclusive in any way, despite it saying it is a special edition, whatever that means. So definitely something you can get. This bottle comes all the way from 2018. So this has been, yeah. So clearly something you can still find pretty readily. This one was on the shelf for quite some time. So as far as the value goes, I am going to give this a medium value. So medium value score on this. And I'll tell you a little bit more about why I say that in final thoughts, which we'll do right now. Chivas Regal, first and foremost, is not what it once was. For folks who've been drinking single malts for a while, they likely have fonder memories of Chivas from the 60s, 70s, maybe even 80s. This has become a very just mass-produced, simple, straightforward blended scotch, probably most likely best used in a mixer. They have been putting out a lot of different finishes and maturations, as they usually do, this Mizunara being one of them. And I'm really kind of few opinions on this. One is it's not that great of a whiskey. It doesn't have a lot of depth. It doesn't have a lot of complexity. It doesn't have a lot of, frankly, interesting notes at all, outside of just the Mizunara note. So is this something I'm going to buy again? No. Who should potentially think about buying this? If you have never had anything with Mizunara oak before, you will likely see that the whiskeys you find aged in that, whether Japanese, there's some Irish, some other ones, are a bit on the pricey side. And it's not just because of the Mizunara oak, but they're generally more expensive whiskeys. This might be a whiskey that is worth trying to get a little bit of insight into what Mizunara oak brings to a whiskey. So in that sense, I think that this would be a good whiskey to go out and try. The price is not exorbitant, as I mentioned, especially if you're finding it around that $40 mark, but still for $40, I think there are a lot better Scotch whiskeys that you can get. There are a lot better blended malts and blended Scotches. Will they all have the Mizunara oak? No, but I think, again, this is a good way to get a taste of Mizunara. So I would definitely see if you can find a bar or a friend that has this and give it a taste before you go and even spend the money on it. So all in all, I think that, if they had bumped this up to 43%, obviously, if it wasn't chill filtered, obviously, if it had an age statement, we would have a better insight into what's going on in this. But as it stands, this tastes like a rather young and mature, mass-produced blended Scotch from Chivas that they threw some Mizunara in, and just to kind of show you what Mizunara tastes like. And that's about what this is good for. My score on this is going to be a 2.5 out of 5, which means I recommend you try this before you go out and buy it. Even though that price may be really affordable for some, I still think you should be able to get your hands on a taste of this and make sure you like it before you go out and buy it. So straight up 2.5 out of 5 here. Try before you buy. Chivas Regal Mizunara. Let me know in the comments, have you had this whiskey at all? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Are there other whiskeys with Mizunara finishes or maturations that you are a big fan of? Please share those for the community down in the comment section. And with that, I will kick you to your malt musing. See you next time here in Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. So